Good morning. Good morning. Welcome or welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Friday. It's finally Friday. TGIF, June the 21st. It is now summer, full moon today, but we are here this morning to look at this historical mysteries. I am hosting a readathon called the Midsummer HistMyst, which is celebrating mysteries that are set in historical times and places. Every day of the week, typically, we look at the new releases that are being set into the wild. This week, each and every week, we look at a different genre every day, but on Friday, it's Freeform Friday. And because we are doing a readathon month, I'm going to look at some historical mystery authors today. If you're looking for some ideas, we did the Midwinter HistMyst that I think introduced some people to historical mysteries, which are my first love. And so I thought I would do the Midsummer, as in the Midsummer's Night's Dream. So Midsummer HistMyst readathon. Good morning, Kim. How you doing? Did you have a good night? Are you still in bed? Because I'm jealous. Quick announcements. I don't have sprints tonight. I do them on Tuesday and Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and on Saturday afternoons at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. So tomorrow we'll be here for 5 hours. Bring a book, be productive, just relax, be creative, whatever it is, it's time carved out for you. It is self-care time, and we just listen to some ambiance and share what's going on. All right. So, I thought today, yes, you are, and I'm jealous. A couple more weeks and I can have a 4-day weekend. I'm very much looking forward to that. Yes. All righty. So I was thinking, we've looked at, oh, you did. That's weird dreams. I have dreams all the time, and I don't know what it is. And it just sometimes you just go, what was my brain doing? I thought today, I do have favorite authors, favorite eras I like to read about in historical mysteries. So, what is a historical mystery? Historical mystery is a book written in by a current author of whatever time, but they are writing a story set in a different time. So, somebody writing a book today about the 1920s would be historical. Somebody living in the 1920s writing about the 1920s is not historical. They are writing about their own times, and we're reading it years later. So it's a person in their contemporary times writing about a historical uh, era and setting. And with historical mysteries, there's also a crime to solve, typically murder. And I love them so much because they usually, now historical, they've gotten up to about the 1990s, which is tragic, but um, I love them because in order to solve the crime, the solver of the crime has to use the technology of their time period, which is usually up until very recently just talking to people and puzzling out. And that's what I like. So I thought today I would look at, we would have sort of an in memoriam. These are authors who have passed in the last year or two. Sadly, their series are done. Um, there will be no more unless somebody, very much like the Tom Clancy, Anne Rice kind of estates, hire somebody else to do the works. But these series are done, and we will not get any more new books. So, in the past year or two, because time goes by so quickly, we're going to look at Charles Todd. Now, Charles Todd is a mother and son writing duo, and the mother passed away. So I don't believe I've not seen that the son is going to continue. If he does continue, it might be his own works. But Charles Todd wrote two series. The first one is The Inspector Ian Rutledge mysteries set after World War I, and he is an inspector with Scotland Yard who is suffering from post-traumatic stress. The first book is called A Test of Wills. There are 24 books in this series. Good morning, Elena. How you doing? Happy Friday indeed. Oh, good. Good to hear. So this first one is A Test of Wills. Let's see if it's going to give us. Here, the shell-shocked Rutledge struggles to retain his fragile grip on sanity while investigating the death of a popular army colonel, murdered, it appears, by a decorated war hero with ties to the royal family. A phenomenal writer, a twisting puzzle, blah, blah, blah. Let's see if we can get a better description. So his manifestation of post-traumatic stress is that he hears in his head, it doesn't give us very much of a description here, a soldier who was in his command during the war, who he had to shoot himself because that soldier refused to do his orders. Hamish. I'm just looking around to see if we will get more of a description. We are not. Here we go. Let's go over here. This is Goodwill's, somebody's review. He's severely scarred mentally from the horrors he witnessed and the terrible decisions he had to make. His boss, Bowles, does not like the inspector much, and when he finds out he suffers from PTSD or shell shock, decides to get rid of him. When the decorated and royalty-connected Colonel Harris is found dead, Bowles thinks he finally found the best way to get rid of Rutledge. In addition to the possibility of the case igniting a diplomatic scandal, the main witness is a veteran deeply affected by shell shock. Bowles hopes that the encounter with the witness will tip the inspector over the edge. These are not fast-paced. This inspector is very covering ground thoroughly, but these are very well done. Very well done. And there will be no more than the 24 books, as far as we know. So another one, these authors, but I'm just going to say this author, Charles Todd, wrote, is also set during World War I, but this one features a nurse. The Bess Crawford mysteries. There are 13 books in this series. First book is A Duty to the Dead. Oh, I hate it when they just say, oh, these books are so great. Well, tell them, say what it's about. Oh, man. We're going to have to go to... what Goodreads can tell us too. Here we go. England, 1916. Independent-minded Bess Crawford's upbringing was far different from that of the usual upper-middle-class British gentlewoman. Growing up in India, she learned the importance of responsibility, honor, and duty from her officer father. At the outbreak of World War I, Bess volunteered for nursing corps, serving from the battlefields of France to the doomed hospital ship Britannic. On one voyage, Bess grows fond of the young, gravely wounded Lieutenant Arthur Graham. Something rests heavily on his conscience, and to give him a bit of peace as he dies, she promises to deliver a message to his brother. It is some months before she can carry out this duty, and when she's next in England, she herself is recovering from a wound. When Bess arrives at the Graham house in Kent, Jonathan Graham listens to his brother's last wishes with surprising indifference. Neither his mother nor his brother, Timothy, seem to think it has any significance either. Unsettled by this, Bess is about to take her leave when sudden tragedy envelops her. She quickly discovers that fulfilling this duty to the dead has thrust her into a maelstrom of intrigue and murder that will endanger her own life and test her courage as not even war has. So again, sorry, I've got something poking me in my eye. A World War One. This one is during it. She's a nurse, strong character, very well done, and that is by Charles Todd, who has the mother part of that duo has passed away, so there will probably not be any more. This next one, C.J. Sampson, top tier historical mystery author. It has been made into a Hulu original series. I will not watch it. I don't want to see them ruin a fabulous series because TV does that. This is set during Henry VIII time, the 1500s in England. The main character here is Shardlake. He is an attorney, and this CJ Sansom is like top 3 for me. So this first book is called Dissolution. There are 7 books in this series. The year is 1537, and the country is divided between those faithful to the Catholic Church and those loyal to the king and the newly established Church of England. When a royal commissioner is brutally murdered in a monastery on the south coast of England, Thomas Cromwell, Henry VIII's feared vicar general, summons fellow reformer Matthew Shardlake to lead the inquiry. Shardlake and his young protege uncover evidence of sexual misconduct, embezzlement, and treason, and when 2 other murders are revealed, they must move quickly to prevent the killer from striking again. This first book is 482 pages. As the series goes on, they do get a little chunky. They are worth it. And there's only 7, which is sad because he was not cranking them out. I would love to reread these. I'd love to read those for the first time again. But someday I will reread them. Before I get into Anne Perry, we're going to do a couple others because Anne Perry has many. So we also lost Caleb Carr, I discovered in the last year or 2. He wrote The Alienist, and there's only a couple books in this series, and it was also made into a TV series, I believe. This is set in the US in the 1896. The year is 1896. The city is New York. Newspaper reporter John Schuyler Moore is summoned by his friend Dr. Laszlo Kreitzler, a psychologist or alienist, to view the horribly mutilated body of an adolescent boy abandoned on the unfinished Williamsburg Bridge. From there, the 2 embark on a revolutionary effort in criminology, creating a psychological profile of the perpetrator based on the details of his crimes. Their dangerous quest takes them into the tortured past and twisted mind of a murderer who will kill again before their hunt is over. The other cool thing about historical mysteries is that you can see how crime solving has evolved also, which I also appreciate. One other one before we get into Anne Perry. I'm seeing that my power isn't plugged in. I'm gonna take me out of the equation here for a second while I check the connection here. Just a minute. I'm still here. I just need to move this a little bit. Because where's my power? Give me power. Yeah, you're plugged in there. What about here? No. All our connections seem okay. Well, we're just gonna have to cross our fingers. We've got enough battery there. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So, next up, John Dunning. I did not know he had passed until I had started looking into who had passed in the last year or two. Now, his main series wasn't historical. It was a book finder back when writing a series about books was newish. But he did write one here called 2 o'clock Eastern Wartime. This is set during the summer of 1942 when radio was in its prime, when daylight savings times gave way to wartime, when stations like WHAR on the New Jersey coast struggled to create programming that entertained and inspired a nation in its dark hour. Jack Dulaney and Holly Carnahan. They are determined to find Holly's missing father, whose last desperate word came from this noisy seaside town. Holly sings like an angel and has what it takes to become a star. Jack, a racetrack hot walker and novelist who's hit every kind of trouble in his travels from sea to sea, tries out as a writer at WHAR and soon discovers a passion for radio and a natural talent for script writing. While absorbing the ways of radio, from writing to directing, he meets some extraordinarily brave and gifted people who touch his life in ways he could not have imagined. So, on and on. Again, my battery's going to be dying, so I am just going to keep plugging along here. So, we lost Anne Perry. She wrote so much and contributed so much to historical mysteries. The first series she wrote was the Charlotte and Thomas Pitt series, which had 32 books in it. The first one is the Cater Street Hangman. Panic and fear strike the Ellison household when one of their own falls prey to the Cater Street murderer. While Mrs. Ellison and her 3 daughters are out, their maid becomes the third victim of a killer who strangles young women with cheese wire, leaving their swollen-faced bodies on the dark streets of this genteel neighborhood. Inspector Pitt, assigned to the case, must break through the walls of upper-class society to get at the truth. His in-depth investigation gradually peels away the proper veneer of the elite world, exposing secrets and desires until suspicion becomes more frightening than truth. Outspoken Charlotte Ellison, struggling to remain within the confining boundaries of Victorian manners, has no trouble expressing herself to the irritating policeman. As their relationship shifts from antagonistic sparring to a romantic connection, the socially mismatched pair must solve the mystery before the hangman strikes again. Again, 32 books in that series. My favorite series of hers, and again, kind of groundbreaking when it first came out, um, the William Monk series. There's 24 books in this one. First book is called The Face of a Stranger. Police detective William Monk must solve the mystery of his own past. His name, they tell him, is William Monk, and he is a London police detective. But the accident that felled him has left him only half a life. His memory and his entire past have vanished. As he tries to hide the truth, Monk returns to work and is assigned to investigate the brutal murder of a Crimean War hero and man about town, which makes Monk's efforts doubly difficult since he's forgotten his professional skills along with everything else. He has to pretend he's the same person so he can continue his job, and he's along the way trying to find out who he used to be, and he's not liking what he finds. It's a very intriguing. Towards the end, Anne Perry gets a little soapboxy, but it's also a very great series. She did also write a World War I series. This one was only 5 books. Uh, the first book is called No Graves as Yet. This is in the gold starts in the golden summer of 1914, when a time of brief enchantment, when English men and women basked in the security of wealth and power, even as the last weeks of their privileged world were swiftly passing. Theirs was a peace that led to war. On a sunny afternoon in late June, Cambridge professor Joseph Reveley is summoned from a student cricket match to learn that his parents have died in an automobile crash. Joseph's brother Matthew, as officer in the intelligence service, reveals that their father had been en route to London to turn over to him a mysterious secret document, allegedly with the power to disgrace England forever and destroy the civilized world. A paper so damning that Joseph and Matthew dared mention it only to their restless younger sister. Now it has vanished. What has happened to this explosive document, if indeed it ever existed? How had it fallen into the hands of their father, a quiet countryman? Not even Matthew, with his intelligence connections, can answer these questions. And Joseph is soon burdened with a second tragedy, the shocking murder of his most gifted student, beautiful Sebastian Allard, loved and admired by everyone, or so it appeared. Meanwhile, England's seamless peace is cracking, as the distance between the murder of an Austrian archduke by a Serbian anarchist and the death of a brilliant university student by a bullet to the head of grows shorter by the day. So this series was dealing with the very beginnings of World War One. A tangent to her William Monk series, she did Christmas books, a new one every year. Dang it, ran out of time. Um, there's 21 in this one, and it featured different people from the William Monk world. The first one is A Christmas Journey. Some of them are novellas. So if you're looking for something for Christmas, there is that one. She then did 2 other series, also kind of spin-offs. This one is a spin-off from the Charlotte Pitt series. This is their son, Daniel Pitt. There was only 6 in this series before she passed. And their son is a lawyer in 1910. It starts with, the first book is called 21 Days. And then she had started a new series before she passed. This one had 5 books before then, featuring Elena Standish. And this is after World War One. And she is a photographer, I believe. I have this, I've not read it yet. There's so much to read. I mean, look at all those books that she has written, and she wrote very readable books. So those are authors that we have lost in the last year or two. If you're looking for a series that is complete, shall we say, that is one. But that is all we have time for today. There are some options there, just a handful of authors, but look what kind of impact they had. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for watching. So that was for the Midsummer HistMyst readathon all through June. It is read as you will, whatever strikes your fancy. I'm not putting any prompts or anything like that, so you can discover what you like to your taste. Again, announcements. I don't have sprints tonight. I don't do them on Friday night. We will have them tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Eastern. They go for 5 hours. Next morning show, Monday, we'll be looking at the new releases being set into the wild next week, starting with Cozy Mysteries and a different genre every day after that. I hope you guys have a good Friday. And Elena said hello to Kim. I will see you tomorrow too. Yay, summer. All right, guys. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. Hope to see you tomorrow. And as the banner says here, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Nom, nom, nom. Have a good day and God bless.